All right. It's all in your hands. The power is in the palm of your hands. We're going to talk about the hands and wrists. I've had some folks message me that they are trying to give yoga a fair shake, and they're having some issues with the wrist, a lot of wrist pain. And I'm totally with you there. I had a really difficult time with my wrists. I lifted a lot of weights. I tucked the thumb back a lot for presses, all kinds of presses. So yoga certainly did not come natural to me and my wrists. But good news is the body is miraculous. It does some wild shit if you just stick with it and breathe through it. First thing that we want to talk about is motion, right? Motion is function. It's a necessity. We need to move. And when any joint in the body stops moving, something starts happening. It's called osteoclast. Your body notes that there's not enough movement in an area. It feels like you don't need that movement. You don't want that movement. So it creates this osteoclast. Starts removing bone density. It makes the area weaker, right? Now, if you continue to have this motion and you continue to create this stress, the body does the opposite, creates osteoblast. So it adds bone density, adds mobility, gives you more movement, but it needs that stress in order to create it. And I was digging through some drawers last night, just cleaning up a little bit, and I came across this wellness magazine that I don't remember buying, but I read it cover to cover, and there was this great article about a biodome. And not the Pauly Shore movie, but they did this actual biodome experiment in the desert where they were trying to, create the perfect environment, control all the elements, and birds and bugs and animals and plants and human beings were all living together. In a couple minutes. And I'm almost done, buddy. And all the trees just kept falling over. And what they realized was the trees were hitting a height, and then they were just toppling over. And what they didn't account for was wind. Now, in order for a tree to get strong and really deeply rooted, it needs this stress. It needs to be pushed around a little bit. And the same is true of our joints. They need to move, they need to be stressed. So I want you to think of motion as stress as well. Stress isn't always this negative bad word. It's actually a necessity. So we're gonna add some stress to the wrist in varying levels, right? Pain is another one of those words. It's not bad, right? It's just a thing. It's something that's happening. You have pain because you don't have enough mobility there yet. So we're gonna do varying levels of stress to the wrist, and we'll start with literally no weight on them at all. And you're just gonna take your hands together like a little prayer, and you're just gonna spin or open the prayer and then try and keep the back of the palms together. And you're gonna just kind of keep this movement where you're spinning your prayer, fingers will go down. Keep pressing into all of the hands, especially the back of the wrists. And I'm gonna blow through some of these exercises, but you can spend time on any one that you feel is really working for you. Trying to change the direction. Again, keeping the even weight through the wrists, just kind of warming them up, really getting this flexion through the back of the wrist. Good, and then just kind of let that go and just press the palms away from you. And then maybe just spin the right hand down. Try and keep the back of the palm really open. Maybe one at a time. Just notice if one feels different than the other. And maybe we'll do both of them. Just feel what this is like. I know it's like a little easy movement, but you can start to feel it right away in the wrists, all the way up into the forearms. Good, let that go. You probably won't be able to see me here, but just take the arms up really wide and then peel the fingers back away from you. Try and peel the fingers away from you. Keep peeling the fingers back, but keep pressing the heel of the hands away from you. Keep the shoulders or the wrist shoulder height. Keep the breath nice and steady. Remember that these muscles and the hands go all the way into the throat and the neck. So relax your face, relax your jaw. Stay here for another 10 seconds. Don't get lazy. Let the discomfort add more effort. So peel the fingers back even more for 3, for 2. Let it go, let it go. Forgot to mention, but it's great to do these exercises on the heels. So this way you're stretching the bottoms of the feet as well. All right, now we're gonna take this and we're gonna start adding a little bit of stress or weight to the wrists. We'll come to our hands and knees. Pointers face forward. It's easy, point, right? Let the wrists be underneath the shoulders and really grip the ground with the fingertips, right? There'll be a little, we call it spider fingers, a little bit of space underneath the fingers, and then wrap the triceps to really spin the hands toward each other. Keep the weight onto the thumb side. The thumb side, that's where the joint is, okay? Without getting too sort of technical, left side, pinky side rather, is soft tissue, right? There's no joint here. The joint is in the thumb side. So you wanna make sure that you're pressing into that thumb side. Don't let the thumbs peel off. You'll notice when we get lazy in our chaturangas or the practice gets, longer, the thumbs start to come off. Don't let that happen. Keep the hands grounded. And here we're just gonna lean past the wrist. We're gonna let the shoulder pass the wrist. We're keep the arms straight and strong. I do this every day, or anytime I'm about to practice, I make sure that I hit the wrists. And super important, especially now, today, what kills us is the not moving, right? And this is happening with our wrists. They're not moving. They're static, typing, texting. We're losing a lot of that mobility. We're losing the density, osteoclast, right? We want to blast it, osteoblast. So we want to keep stressing the wrist. Keep the shoulders past the wrists and hang out here. Keep them nice and strong. Keep pressing into the heels of the hands. And just keep taking the weight a little bit further. Keep gripping with the fingertips. Keep relaxing the jaw and the face. Keep the breath really steady. Look for the discomfort. It's okay. Breathe through it. For 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly come off that. We're going to let the fingertips face away from us, left to right. A lot of mobility in your wrist. Bring the wrists together, right? You're new. Keep them apart. Either way, lean left to right. Focusing on that thumb and that index finger. Maybe gripping with the fingertips. The palms come up slightly. And then forward and back here. And the wrists aren't totally meant to support a lot of weight, but they will and they can. They just need you to work with them and stress them. And now we're going to take it one step further. The palms will face, or the fingertips will face your knees. As soon as you arrive, just hang out. Don't do anything. Just keep pressing the heel of the hands into the ground. Just stay here and breathe. You may be noticing some discomfort up to the forearm or feeling sensation here. The forearm, starts here at the edge of the bicep, but will go all the way down and then underneath the hand all the way to the fingertips. Remember to relax your jaw and your neck. This is traveling all the way up. So stay here and breathe, and then maybe start to lean back. But keep the heels grounded, keep the heel of the hands grounded. Just lean away, press into the fingertips. Keep sort of broadening through the chest here. Relax the face. Deep, deep breath. And then maybe adding some movement, forward and back. Maybe the palms will come up slightly. Again, there's pain, of course. There's a little discomfort. That's because your body isn't used to this. You haven't given your body this movement yet. But the more you do, the more range you'll get, the less pain you'll get with that range. Okay, we're going to take the palms off the ground now. We're going to take the back of the wrists to the ground. This is definitely not something the wrists would do normally. The fingertips will face towards you. There's a bend in the arm, but we're working more with trying to find this sort of rotation of the tricep and the straightening of the arm. So maybe you add a little breath, a little inhale on the bend, a little exhale when you straighten and wrap those triceps. Try and move at your pace, a little slower, a little faster, depending on your body. Try and keep the fingers really wide, really open, almost trying to get the back of the fingernails to touch the ground. You'll feel that even more. Stay with your breath, relax your face, long inhales, long exhales. And actually, maybe if you're feeling it, you're feeling comfortable here. Remember, the wrists were torture for me. The wrists will begin to support weight, even in the weirdest positions, if you continuously stress them. From here, actually, I want you to try and find the knees really high up on the wrist creases. So take the knees all the way up. And imagine that you're trying to pull your arms out and you're leaving the hands on the ground. So you're feeling a little separation in the wrist. Maybe try and grab your knees and grip your knees with your arms. And then maybe start to sit back on the heels and try and continuously sort of pull the hands away from the ground. And keep the knees rooting into the palms as the arms are trying to move away from the knees. So here for 3, for 2, maybe start to lean forward. We'll play with a little balance here. Maybe lift one toe off and then the other toe. And just hang out. And then slowly release. Last thing we're gonna do is keep your hands like really limp. Just keep them loose. I want you to just kind of notice if the joint stays really limp, you can move the whole joint, you can separate it. But if I tense my hand, it locks the joint up. So I want you to leave your wrist really limp, find that knuckle, this wrist bone here, and then just give it a squeeze. And you can actually feel the wrist separating. You can feel that little separation, that capsule. And then once that happens, you're just gonna give it a little spin, kind of roll it around in there. Grease it up, little WD-40. All our wrists have this synovial fluid. So we're just greasing up. Same thing on the other side. Maybe give them a little spin like this. And then pain, it's gonna be there, it's okay. It should go away in a week, especially if you're brand new. But if you continuously stress them a day or two, it just goes away and you just hop back on it. If you have any other questions or concerns or something else you'd like, some more detail on, hit me up. Have a good Sunday.